Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I can't believe it. Someone called me this morning, a friend of mine from Australia. It was early in the morning by me, and he says, Rabbi, it's almost Shabbos here, and I haven't heard one Dvar Torah from you this week yet. What's going on? And I realized that I hadn't done one Torah thought the entire week. It's been a hectic week, and part of the reason you see where I am, I'm actually in my office. For the first time in a long time, we've been spending full days in the office because on Tuesday, we got 9 out of our 10 kids back to school. The only one that's home is little Shayna. And everyone else is at school, social distancing, masks. Thank God, it's all been good. 3rd day in a row. 3 is Chazakah, and we're praying that it's going to be an amazing year. But it allowed Gruni and I to full-time work from the office and not to have to use the study at home. And we're preparing for Rosh Hashanah and for the pre-Rosh Hashanah, and there's been a lot going on. But I did want to say a good thought. So, this week's Torah portion is a double portion. And the portion starts, Atem nitzavim hayoim kulchem. God says, you stand, Moses tells the Jews, you stand in front of me today. It was the day of Moses' passing. Moses was passing away, and the Jewish people were standing in front of them. But the Baal Shem Tov tells us that the day Atem Nitzavim Hayom is always read the Shabbos before Rosh Hashanah, every single year. Because the word Hayom doesn't just go on the day that Moses was talking about. It goes on the day of Rosh Hashanah, Yom Adin, the day of judgment. And God is telling us that when it comes to the day of judgment, all of you stand in front of me equally. He enumerates 10 people, the judges, the leaders, the water carriers, the wood choppers, everyone stands equally. And the rabbis tell us that the reason why this Torah portion comes right after the curses that we read in the last portion, what's the juxtaposition, what's the connection? The rabbis say there's a connection everywhere because the Jews were terrified. In the last week's Torah portion we heard 98 curses. What happens if you don't keep the Torah? The Jews were terrified. So Moses says, relax. Atem nitzavim hayom. Look, you're all standing here today. You've sinned, and yet God has still blessed you with what you need. And the way to get the blessing of the new year is when everyone stands equally. All types of people, water carriers, wood choppers, rabbis, judges, teachers, entrepreneurs, leaders, financial geeks, everyone stands equally together. But last week I was reading an article. I was reading an article in the Wall Street Journal on Shabbos, read it after Shabbos, and it was an article about Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett last Sunday celebrated his 90th birthday. Warren Buffett's a unique man, one of the wealthiest people in the world, worth $90 billion. 90% of that he made after he was 65. Very different than a lot of the billionaires today. But in an interview in the Wall Street Journal, Warren Buffett spoke about something he called, and I'll use the Hebrew word for it, the Misur Shelach technique. What's the Misur Shelach technique? So this is what Warren Buffett wrote to his early investors in 1965, to the limited investors he allowed to invest with him. And it was the connection of living a long life and having safe, good investments. And Warren Buffett writes that basically, at a young age, he realized that if you take $1,000 and you invest it at 10% earnings a year, then in 5 years you have $1,600. In 10 years you have $2,600. In 25 years you have $10,800. And in 50 years you have $117,400. So if you live a long life, like Misur Shelach, who lived in the biblical times, 969 years, and you invest properly, and you become a very successful, wealthy man. It's called the compound, money that's compounded, because you realize the value of money. And in fact, in the book, The Snowball Effect, The Snowball, which is the biography on Warren Buffett, he said he always saw money from then when you took a snowball and you would roll it in the snow, how as you rolled it, it accumulated more and more and more. And that's how he saw money. And he said, his friends say, his family said that sometimes he heard him when he bought his new house I think it was in the 1970s, and he paid $31,000. He saw it as $1 million investment of his, because if he would have taken that money and invested it, it would have been more. And then they mentioned that when he would take a haircut, he would mutter that, oh, this is $300,000, because if you compounded that investment over time, then it would be worth a lot more money. And he gives an example of the market. The market's about 28,500 points now, the Dow Jones. Well, guess what? At 1.6%, where would the Dow Industrial be in 2099? And the answer is 100,000 points. How about at 4.6% annually, where would it be? It would be at 1 million points. How about 7.7% annually, which is less than the 8.4% the market did over the last 30 years? It would be at 10 million points. Just to show you the power of compounding investment. Why do I tell you this? I'm not giving you stock tips here. And although I am always been truly impressed by Warren Buffett, what's the message here? Because I think that Torah sees it in a little bit of a different way. When you study Torah, there's a very beautiful verse in Ethics of Our Fathers. It says, Yafeh sha'a achat b'tshuva ma'asim tovim mikol chayei olam haba. 1 hour of returning to God and good deeds is greater than the whole life, the eternity of the world to come. How could that be? 1 hour of teshuvah? You see, this is the month of teshuvah. Elul is the month of returning. When we return and connect closer to Hashem. And the thing is that when we're in this world, we have the opportunity to choose. We could choose to do good, we could choose to do bad. As the Torah tells us clearly in this week's portion, God says, look, I give in front of you life and death, good and bad. It's your choice. In the world to come, it's a great place. But there, we're robotic like angels. We don't get a choice. So Pirkei Avot tells us that 1 hour of good deeds, of returning to God in this world, is greater than all the life of the world to come. And that's what Warren Buffett didn't understand. When he speaks about compounding your investment, and how every time he took a haircut, he thought, what would my money be it would be $300,000 in 50 years if I didn't use it on a haircut, or in 100 years, etc., etc. What he didn't understand is that the way the Torah views it is that every moment and every opportunity that we have in this world to do a good deed, to make a difference, to return to God, is an opportunity you never get again. It's the most cherished thing. So yeah, you could save, you could compound, you could think about what's going to be the future. But in Judaism, it's the time is now. And that's the power of Elul. And that's the power of Atem, Nitzavim, Hayom, Kulchem. Moses told the Jews, listen, don't worry about yesterday, don't worry about tomorrow. Hayom, Kulchem. Today is the day we stand in front of God, we get ready for Rosh Hashanah. What are we coming with? Every hour, every moment of good deeds, of connection to Hashem, of returning, is the most cherished thing we could have. I always say this joke about this guy who he invited his friend to Rosh Hashanah dinner. The guy says, tell me, how do you get to me? He says, well, I live on Park East and 60th. You're gonna take the 3 train, come down the steps, and take your elbow and knock in the token, and then when the turnstile with your elbow, and then when the 3 train comes uptown, you knock both doors open with your elbows, and you take it till 59th Street, and you open the doors with your elbows, and you walk up the street, and you make a right on 59th, a left on 6th Avenue, and then you come to my building, and you ring the bell with your elbow, and when the elevator comes, you open it with your elbow, etc., etc., and when you get to the 7th floor, you open it with your elbow, and then you ring my door with the elbow. And the guy says to him, that's all great. Thanks for directions. What's business with the elbows the whole time? Why can't you just tell me where to go? He says, well, I'm imagining that if you come into my house for Rosh Hashanah, you're not coming empty-handed. You're coming with something. So that's why I told you the elbows. Your hands are not going to be free. And that's the message. Guys, this is the month we bless the new year. It's the month that Rosh Hashanah is in, the day of judgment. Don't compound your investment. It's about now. It's about every moment. It's about what you're doing now. You know, everyone's talking about 2020. Now 2020 has been such a bad year, and they can't wait till 2021 and for something to change. Us Jews have the luck, have the blessing that our year is changing in a week. In a week, we're coming to a new year, the year of 5781. And when Rosh Hashanah comes, we say to God, may the year and its curses finish, and may the new year and its blessings begin. May Hashem bless each and every one of us, that we should grab every opportunity we have till then, the next 10 days, and internalize the blessing of life that God gives us to choose good and to do good and to make a difference and to return to Him and to become better people. And with that blessing, we'll be blessed with a sweet, good new year. Have a great day.